Stop whatever you're doing right now. Look up at the sky. Or look at a plain white wall. Now, do you see them? Those tiny little things floating around, drifting, wiggling. Almost like tiny worms, or bubbles, or little squiggly lines. And the moment you try to look directly at them, they move away. Like they're running from you. You chase them, they escape. You blink, they come back.
What are those things?
You have probably seen them your entire life. Since you were a little kid. Maybe you thought you were imagining things. Maybe you asked your mom, and she said don't worry about it. Maybe you Googled it once and forgot about it. But today, we're going to find out exactly what those things are. And trust me, the answer is going to shock you. Because those tiny floating things you see, they are not outside your eye. They are inside your eye.
Right now.
Living inside your eye. Moving around. Every single day. Stay with me. Because this is about to get really interesting. First things first. You are not crazy. You are not imagining things. What you are seeing is completely real. And almost every single human being on this planet sees the exact same thing. Scientists even gave it a fancy name. They call it eye floaters. But that name is so boring for something so mysterious. Because here's what nobody tells you. Doctors have been studying these things for over 200 years. 200 years. And there are still things about them that science cannot fully explain. We have sent rockets to Mars. We have decoded human DNA. We have built artificial intelligence that can write poetry and paint pictures. But these tiny little wiggly things floating inside your eye still hold secrets that the smartest doctors in the world are scratching their heads about. So let us start from the very beginning. Imagine your eye is like a snow globe. You know those little glass balls you shake and snow falls inside? Your eye is filled with a jelly-like liquid, almost like a very thick, very clear jelly. Scientists call it the vitreous humor.
Yes,
Humor, like it is laughing at us. This jelly fills up almost 80% of your entire eyeball. And when you are young, when you are a tiny little baby, this jelly is perfectly clear, perfectly smooth, like the cleanest glass you have ever seen.
no floates, no worms, no bubbles.
Just pure crystal clear jelly. So where do the floaters come from? Oh, this is where it gets interesting. As you grow up, something starts happening inside that beautiful clear jelly. Tiny little fibers inside the jelly start to change. They start to clump together. Like when you leave milk out too long and it starts to get chunky. Sorry for that image, but it is the best way to explain it. These tiny clumps, these little fiber bundles start floating around inside your eye jelly. And when light enters your eye, it hits these clumps. And they cast a tiny little shadow on the back of your eye, on the part called the retina. And your brain, your brilliant, hardworking brain, sees that shadow and shows it to you. Those shadows are your floaters. You are literally seeing the shadow of something floating inside your own eyeball. Let that sink in. Every time you see those little worms floating around, you are watching shadows of things living inside your eye, cast by light, projected onto your retina, like a tiny little movie screen, inside your skull.
Right now.
And you cannot touch them. You cannot wash them out. You cannot blink them away, because they are not on the surface of your eye. They are deep inside, floating in that jelly, moving every time your eye moves. Which is why when you try to look directly at a floater, it moves away, because your eye moved. And the floater floating in that jelly drifted away from where you were looking. It is like trying to catch your own shadow.
Impossible.
And somehow that is both fascinating and a little terrifying at the same time. Here is something really interesting. Ask a 5-year-old if they see floaters. Most of the time, they will say no. Ask a 40-year-old. They will probably say yes.
Why?
Remember that beautiful clear jelly we talked about? When you are young, it is perfect. But as you get older, that jelly starts to slowly shrink. Like a grape turning into a raisin. Very slowly. Over many years. As it shrinks, it starts to pull away from the back of your eye. And as it pulls away, more fibers break off. More clumps form. More floaters appear. This is completely normal. Most adults between the ages of 50 and 75 will notice significantly more floaters than they did when they were young. But here's the part that doctors find strange. Some people, young people, teenagers, even children have a lot of floaters, and some older people almost none. And scientists still do not fully understand why. Same eyes, same jelly, same physics, but completely different experiences. Now I have to be honest with you, because this video would not be complete without telling you something important. Most of the time, floaters are harmless. Just annoying little shadows in your eye jelly. Nothing dangerous. Nothing scary. Your brain actually learns to ignore them over time. It literally edits them out, like how you stop noticing the sound of a fan after a while. But sometimes floaters can be a warning sign. If you suddenly see a huge shower of new floaters, like hundreds appearing all at once, if you see flashing lights along with them, if it feels like a curtain or shadow is covering part of your vision, stop watching this video and call a doctor right now. Because those can be signs of something called a retinal detachment, which is when the back of your eye, the retina, starts to peel away, like wallpaper falling off a wall, inside your eye. This is a medical emergency. The faster you get to a doctor, the better chance you have of saving your vision. Here is what really gets me. We know what floaters are. Clumps of fiber. Shadows on the retina. Old jelly shrinking. We understand the mechanics. But here is what science still cannot answer. Why does the brain show them to you at all? Your brain is constantly filtering information. Every single second. It ignores the feeling of your clothes on your skin right now. It ignores the sound of your own breathing. It ignores thousands of things happening inside your body every second. So, why does it choose to show you these floaters? These useless little shadows that serve absolutely no purpose? Your brain could just edit them out completely, like it does with so many other things. But it does not. It shows them to you, and nobody fully knows why. Some scientists think it is a leftover feature from evolution. That maybe millions of years ago, seeing tiny movements in your vision helped our ancestors spot predators or parasites. A tiny movement in your eye meant danger nearby. So the brain learned to pay attention to small floating things. And even though we no longer need that warning system, the brain never stopped using it. You are walking around in 2026 with a prehistoric eye alarm system, still running, still showing you shadows from millions of years ago. Is that not the most beautifully strange thing you have ever heard? Your eyes are ancient, and they still remember things your brain has long forgotten. Can you get rid of floaters? Short answer, sort of. There is a laser procedure called laser vitreolysis, where a doctor shoots a tiny laser inside your eye and literally vaporizes the floaters. Sounds terrifying. Feels surprisingly okay apparently. But most doctors will not do it unless your floaters are severely affecting your life. There is also a surgery called a vitrectomy, where they literally remove the jelly from your eye and replace it with a saline solution. The surgery works. Most floaters disappear. But doctors only recommend it in extreme cases because it carries real risks of infection and retinal damage. So for most people, the answer is simply learn to live with them. And honestly, most people do.